Hello everybody and welcome to today's live panel discussion where we are here to talk about all things sport and health sciences right here in AIT. I'm delighted to be joined by Head of Department Aoife and Student Ambassador Cormac. Today we are going to give you a general overview of the courses available and obviously the amazing facilities we have right here on campus. But just to reiterate firstly that we are running lots of lives like this one which gives you as prospective students incredible opportunities to gain an insight into the array of CAO courses we have available to you. We are also available through a virtual capacity where you have the opportunity to appointment, which is a 30-minute Zoom or phone call with our student recruitment team to gain a better insight into maybe information and supports and lots more. Before we jump into today's live panel discussion, I'm just going to reiterate that we are also running live web Q&As on Thursdays between 4 and 6 p.m. A great opportunity for you as prospective students and your parents and guardians to gain better information on the courses themselves, work placements and lots more. So welcome to today's live panel discussion, Aoife and Cormac. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, Claire.
Thanks, Claire.
So Aoife, do you want to give me a general overview on the array of courses available within your department?
Yep, I'd be delighted to. So as you mentioned there, the name of our Department of Sport and Health Sciences, and it kind of gives you a bit of a tip of how our department looks like. So we've got a sports side and a health side, both very much embedded in science. In our sports side, which always jumps out, and rightly so, given our facilities, and I'll talk about that, we have two, I suppose, flagship programs: sports science with exercise physiology, a 4-year level, and athletic and rehabilitation therapy, another 4-year level 8 program. Both very popular. And I guess we get a good mix. We get a good mix of boys and girls and people who are kind of really interested in sport, and working with athletes. But there's a little bit on the general population too, especially in the sports science program. On the health side, and again, very much health sciences, we've 3 programs, 2 level 8, nutrition and health science, which has recently been accredited by the Association for Nutrition, which is brilliant, and we're delighted with that and reflects all the hard work on the course. And then physical activity and health science, a real kind of unique program looking at how physical activity and exercise is good for everybody, not focused on sport. And then we have a level 7 entry point into that course. It's called exercise and health science. So typically you come in with the level 8 group, you work alongside them, and then you can do an add-on level 8 at the end of that if you choose to do so.
Brilliant. And Aoife, I think it's so important when we're obviously talking about sport and health sciences and when you're spotlighting, for example.
Definitely, and I suppose it reflects a real commitment to sport science in this. Costs a lot of money. So, I mean, the obvious thing when you drive into Athlone IT is the fantastic international arena. And you go inside the door of that and you see this unbelievable indoor setup for athletics. But I mean, it's so much more than that because it's a really good place for us to do stuff around performance testing, and kind of exercise leadership and prescription. But within that fabulous building, then we have a sports science lab. It's bespoke and really, I suppose, is the core focal point of our physiology delivery. And we've lots of physiology modules that fit in there. We've got an amazing high performance gym. I can't lift anything in there, but it is brilliant. And it's a real, again, I suppose, great spot for strength and conditioning related modules. We've recently invested in, and this is a big investment, but again reflects a real commitment to grow, in a biomechanics lab. So a Vicon motion analysis system that helps us really do really good biomechanics work. And again, we've 3 or 4 modules right through our sports science program that fit with that. And it also works for athletic and rehabilitation therapy too. For that particular program, we've got 2 rehab and therapy labs, are really well kitted out. And in fairness here, we've really good support. We all know that after a year or 2 in work, that's when it all starts to fall into place. So to be able to do that during your course is amazing.
Definitely. And I know that students not only have experience in work placement, for example, nationally, but both internationally. I know that a physical activity and health science student had an opportunity to go the whole way to Australia last year, which is amazing. So it's great for students to know that they can also complete international placement if they would like. So Cormac, I'm going to jump to you next, and we're going to talk a little bit about a student experience and highlight what myself and Aoife have just been discussing, for example, about the practical learning. So do you want to tell me maybe what your favourite module is as an athletic and rehabilitation therapy student?
Yes, I will start. This year in 3rd year we were more exposed to the real sort of world of an athletic therapist. So last year we were on placement as an athletic therapist with Athlone Town, that's where I was. And the placement opportunities were probably my favourite module. 1st year especially, it was quite tricky. We had our biology modules and our chemistry modules. So we had to get them out of the way in order to fulfil our placement, which we did in 2nd and 3rd year. So yeah, so I would say the placement's a great opportunity so far.
Excellent. And have you found that the placement benefited you not only as a student, but when you're maybe doing your modules? Do you find that you kind of can relate some of the skill set that you gained on placement as well?
Yeah, I think placement is like the only chance you sort of will be able to show all your skills, because there's only so much learning you can really do, behind a laptop or whatnot. But, our studies did come into play, and we were like seeing these injuries that we've seen in our books. Really interesting, especially because we've never actually seen or dealt with patients coming into the clinic before. This year, we've been doing it online, but still we have our lecturers sort of acting as patients. So we have to, diagnose them and do our subjective, objective assessment, get to the guts of what their injury may be. And so it's an ideal challenge to give us this year, but it's something at least they did do. But yeah, the clinic it's probably the best module, as I mentioned before, but it is the early starts, which is probably the worst thing about it, but it's enjoyable.
Brilliant. And Cormac, has been the highlight so far for you? Is it the facilities? Is it the lectures? What's kind of just been the pinnacle for you?
So I'd be big into sport as well. So as Aoife mentioned with the facilities, you have the arena, you have the football pitches, you have everything there at your footsteps, so we can't really complain. But the highlight, I'd say, was probably joining the football team, as well as working on placement with the AIT women's team. So it was a great experience, and I'd say the placement and joining the football team was probably the best so far.
Excellent.
To date, anyway.
So Aoife, I'm going to jump back to you, and obviously I think it's important to talk about career opportunities. So they're vast, obviously, within your department, talking about various different areas. As you were saying, you kind of have the health side and the sport side. So do you want to talk to me a little bit about maybe the sport opportunities, employment firstly, and then we'll talk about the health ones?
Yeah, I guess the most career-focused course in terms of it's a direct career is actually become a certified athletic therapist and work with that. And that's, what we encourage our students to do, and they're doing it very well. You get a lot of students coming in, and it'll probably be one of the questions I get all of the time is, can you do physio?
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and
definitely.
Yes, you can. You can apply, and you can go down that route. There's no guaranteed options, but generally, an athletic therapist graduate is going to be so well positioned to further study in physio. They're going to do really well. They're going to have that real sport focus. For the sports science stuff, then the beauty of it is, and it's not something to be afraid of, is the breadth of it. I did it myself, and I would look at my classmates now and look at the array of careers they have fostered for themselves, and it's incredible. So it could be lecturing in the sports science area. It could be going very high in strength and conditioning. It could be progressing into physio. It could be psychology. It could be sports nutrition. It could be further research. It could be physiology, coaching. And again, I think as a prospective graduate or a parent, that's actually a good thing. For somebody who's a little bit uncertain at 17 or 18, we're asking them to make this massive decision. They'll be much better placed to make it when they're at 21 or 2. On the other side, graduates, have really good outcomes as well in terms of working as a nutritionist, and they'll be able to do that now. Working in quality control, kind of lab settings. And a lot of them move on to dietetics as well, further study pathways there. The physical activity and health science, we've our first graduates this year. We're delighted, and they're already doing well. I mean, there's a big growth now in exercise as medicine. And there's an XWELL program, and the HSE are even investing a lot more in community-based exercise programs. So there's a massive, I suppose, opportunity there for our graduates to be leads in that. They're going to be experts in behaviour change, and they're hard to find, as we know ourselves. It's really hard to change behaviour. So having someone who can drive that is important.
Excellent. So I think to kind of finish up, we might finish up with a little bit of advice. So Cormac, I'll come to you first. Do you want to give me a little bit of advice for a student who might be in your shoes when you were 16 or 17 and looking to study in AIT or specifically athletic and rehabilitation therapy? What would you tell your 16-year-old self?
Yeah, well, absolutely. But I'd probably go back to my leaving cert self, so it's probably 17 or 16 yet. But what I would say is just to research the course, because you can look into it and you can see the different modules that are on offer. You can see the different, but it's not that simple at the start. You have to get through your biologies and your chemistries. But I would say just to research the course, research into the second and third years, not just the first years, and take it from there. But researching is a big factor, which I did, and I'm glad I did do it in the end.
Brilliant. And Aoife, coming to you, have you any advice for maybe parents or guardians or students as well?
Yeah, I think look under the lid. I mean, we ask students every year, why do they pick their course? And a lot of it is the name of the course and the name of the modules. I think Cormac hinted at something there.